Welcome back, guys, to episode 6 of the Skunk Ape podcast. As you guys can see, it is just me today. Chad is not going to be with us today. He should hopefully be back for next week's episode, but for now, y'all just got to deal with me today. In today's episode, we're bringing on one of my best friends. I've known him pretty much my entire life. His name is Mitchell Ashton. We're going to go ahead and bring him on. We're going to talk all about fish in this episode. We haven't done a fish episode yet, so we're going to nerd out, talk about fish. Might even talk about a little bit of geckos because he is working with some electric blue bay geckos. So if you guys are looking to buy some, he does have a bunch for sale. So definitely go ahead and hit up his socials down in the description below. And let's go ahead and get into this episode and let's talk about some fish. Alright guys, Gavin here while I'm editing. Before we get into this episode, I am editing this podcast and the entire video recording was lagging during the recording process, so it is literally unwatchable. So I'm honestly pissed off about it. I'm so mad that happened because this is a great episode. So I hope you guys do enjoy it, but it's gonna be a little bit different of an episode. We're gonna be having it audio only, so I do apologize about that. But like I said, it was just lagging, dealing with some technical difficulties. So this episode is gonna be audio only. Hope y'all enjoy. Let's get right on into it. Alrighty, so welcome to episode 6, Mitchell. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. How do you guys want to have me on here? You know.
Oh yeah, I was talking about in the intro how we've known each other pretty much our whole lives.
Yeah. St. Joseph's. Kindergarten.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think kindergarten.
Yeah, so kindergarten. I think I've only known like one other person longer.
I don't think I've known anyone else longer.
I think I met one of my buddies in preschool and we're still friends. But, I mean,
it's a long time.
You are my oldest friend, basically. You know? Kindergarten. So, yeah, we've known each other forever.
Yeah, and I mean, I swear, I think the whole time that I can remember knowing you, you've been keeping fish, right? Like pretty much since day one.
No. Your dad got me into fish.
Really? Really?
Yeah. So
was it the big tanks?
Not like fully. But I had never seen I think I had seen a fish tank a time or two before coming over to your house.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Parker. I'm not gonna say his last name. Actually, it's probably not a smart move. About to say his last name.
I think I know who you're talking about.
His dad. I remember like kindergarten, like going over to their place, and his dad had a saltwater tank with moray eels, and I was like,
"Oh, that's sweet."
That's crazy, you know. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think it was a snowflake moray and a zebra moray. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever."
Those are still some of my favorite morays.
Oh yeah, they're like some of like the basic easy ones like that everyone has, and like honestly they're the best.
Yeah.
And probably the chillest temperature. Either way, and then went over to your house and I remember it was a twin 120s.
Yeah, twin 120s or 125, something like that.
Yeah, either 120s or 125s. Flanking y'all's TV. I thought that was the coolest thing. One of them had some sort of stingray on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? It was like I want to say it was a Motoro. I don't know.
Yeah, but it was one of the, I don't know the names. The stingrays.
You know, like when you're little, you remember things like differently than they were.
Yeah,
like,
I remember it was a gray stingray with orange dots.
Yeah, see, that's what I remember. Something like with orange dots.
Yeah.
But I don't think Motoro's have been legal in Florida like ever. So
it's my dad we're talking about.
No, I don't. I still think it's possible we get them.
No, he definitely. I know for a fact he had those. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, I was gonna say it's probably, if not, it's some sort of skate. Like Florida skates are legal. And
he had the freshwater rays. Like I remember we would catch them in the St. John's and transport them home.
Yeah. Yeah, like a Florida ray. Those are Florida rays.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're breeding in the St. John. It's really cool. I caught a giant one. Caught quite a few of them, but I remember like the most memorable one, the biggest one I caught was like super pregnant. Like,
oh, that's crazy.
had a pasta party for high school, like track, cross country. And it was like, it's just it.
And they fight hard too. Like, they're fun to fish. They're fun to fish for.
They're fun. I don't like catching them because I don't like dealing with them. Like they're
all slimy and shit.
You don't want to hurt them. You don't want to. It's hard to get to their mouth and that kind of thing.
So then, what was your first fish tank?
Your dad had a stingray tank on the left, and it had like glass catfish in it.
Yeah.
And I remember you showing me those and thinking it was the coolest thing ever. And then the other side had the arowana.
I didn't even remember we had glass catfish in that tank.
Yeah, you had some sort of like, or maybe it wasn't glass catfish.
I think it was.
Translucent fish.
I think it was. I remember. I mainly remember. What was that?
That's the only one I can think of that was like common.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I think it was glass catfish. I mainly remember the discus and the rays.
I don't remember the discus at all.
I don't think you saw the discus.
I might have, and I could have just totally disassociated or whatever, you know, or just I don't know, or disassociate is not really
whatever the word is.
Yeah, we're little, we forget things.
Yeah. So what was your first fish tank then? Like, so that was your inspiration. What was your first tank?
So it was it was a 10-gallon. Bought it on Craigslist. And it was $10. The person sold it to us for $10 because they knew I was a kid and like wanted to get into fish.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a lot of money, so they sold it like $10. Lid, filter, light. You know.
Oh wow, that's a good deal.
It's like an incandescent. It's like an incandescent bulb, you know. And this is like 2010.
How old were you? Roughly.
I was in third.
Wow.
In third grade. And then I went, and I didn't have a lot of money, so I bought. I forgot what I wanted. I really forgot what I wanted at the time. Because it had been so many different things I wanted.
Yeah.
That I think I ended up. I know I settled on neon tetras because they were $1 a fish, and I only had like $8 left. So I bought. I think I bought 5 neon tetras, 6 neon tetras from PetSmart.
Awesome.
And then later I got a Coolie Loach.
Respect.
The brown Coolie. Brown Coolies are my favorite. One of my favorite fish.
10-gallon. Did you have live plants in it, or did you start that a little later?
I don't think I had live plants in there until I was in like 4th grade, probably.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, essentially, I that 10-gallon. We ended up getting guppies. My sister ended up getting a fish tank like right after me because she liked mine.
You just unlocked a memory of mine. I don't know why, but I remember that tank she had.
Like that little skirt.
Yeah.
It was like a 2.5 gallon.
Like a little half moon tank, right?
Yeah, and we ended up taking her fish and putting them into mine because it was like we realized the tank was too small. But then I had a lot of guppies. And we, for the first like few like batches of babies, we put them in the mom in like those breeder boxes that like they sell or aren't very good. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not phenomenal either.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started, and we would move the babies into that batch. And then we started. Just like letting them breed in the tank. We ended up upgrading to like a 20-gallon.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. And then it just went on. Like the races were on. Once we like had a tank full of babies, the race was on.
So is that when you would have joined the North Florida Fish Club?
No. I actually want to backtrack a little bit if we can.
Yeah.
When I got my first tank. So I remember I decided I wanted a blackfin shark. Remember those? Like, they used to sell those blackfin sharks. They're like a catfish.
Yeah.
can't remember what catfish species they are, but they get considered pretty large. And I wanted a green spot puffer, or they're called leopard puffers at Walmart. And Walmart had both of them. And my goal was to save up for a 2.5-gallon aquarium that they had for $30, and buy that. My parents made me research for like a whole year, and in that year process, I decided, like pufferfish aren't good for beginners. My shark's gonna get way too big. I want a 10-gallon, and I want this, and this, and then I want a 14-gallon. At one point, I wanted a 20-gallon, and I wanted albino angelfish and albino koi cats.
That's cool.
And like that's just like an example. Like it went on for literally a year. They made me research, and the more they made me research, I think the more they feel the obsession.
Yeah.
And if I had just gotten a fish tank immediately,
I don't think you'd be where you are now.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. They made me research, and I'm sure to my parents, I'm sure a couple they've been kicking themselves a couple times. Like, should have gotten fish tank immediately, so it wouldn't be so obsessive these things, you know. But I mean, I've always been obsessed with animals, so it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Now, at this time were you like interested in like reptiles at all, or was it mainly just fish?
Yeah. That was one of the first things we like. I remember going over to your house and like trying to catch snakes with you.
Those days were fun.
I was always into reptiles. I was always into Steve Irwin. I was into Steve Irwin. Like, you know, I remember when he died.
Yeah.
Crying at school. Like
I remember that too.
Like we're crying. I remember crying on the. I don't remember crying at school. That's not like the core memory I have. One of them, mine is like crying on the drive to school. And I was like,
I remember my parents didn't tell me. Like my parents,
you gotta stop crying before you go to school. You know?
My parents didn't tell me until like 2 weeks after. they knew I'd be obsessed, so they didn't tell me until like 2 weeks after. And I remember being in our in the office at the house. I just remember like bawling my eyes out in that office. And then like I was like, why didn't you tell me when it happened? That was, man. Rest in peace to Steve.
I remember my parents used to watch the news before school school. Like they'd always have the news on. I remember walking out and my dad being like, "Oh no, Steve Irwin died," or my mom. Maybe it's my mom. I don't know if that's all. Oh no, Steve Irwin. Oh.
That's
Can you
crazy.
see that right there?
Kind of. What is it?
I think that's the male.
Electric blue.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you can't really see it on the camera.
The lighting's very poor right now. It doesn't have the. He doesn't have. I don't have the white incandescent light, or I don't have the white LED on. Oh no, that's the female at the bottom of the log. The male's like right here.
Sweet. How many do you have in there again? A trio?
I have a trio. Yeah, I have 1.2. Is it MFJ?
Yeah.
Is the ratio MFJ?
Mm-hmm.
So I have 1.2 in this tank, and tank over here I have 0.1, and then I have number of juveniles right now.
Hopefully, they keep doing well. Do you plan on holding back a male, or holding back a couple?
I mean, maybe there's two that I don't want to sell. I probably won't sell. Either give them to somebody or give them to a shop that's selling the babies. Like ideally, I would give them to the shop that's selling the babies, and the shop only use them as a display animal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this is what the adults look like, because those two dropped their tails.
Really?
One of them dropped it. Yeah, one of them dropped it like right in the incubator. And then the other dropped it less than a day later.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Both times, like the first time, the incubator like admittedly was a stressful moment. The other one, I just came back and he had dropped his tail. Like,
interesting.
I don't know what scared him, but something happened. So
yeah, but they can baby geckos can get so scared. Like you could shut the door too loud and they'll drop their tail. So
Well, then, I mean, that's not necessarily true for these guys, though. I know it's for crested geckos, but
Mm-hmm.
not for these guys, really.
Do they don't regrow their
But,
tails, do they?
You do.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. So but it just doesn't, it doesn't look as good.
Yeah. Yeah. Trust me, I know that.
There's a slight kink with it, and I don't want to sell something like that. That's just not me.
I respect that.
But I would love to either put it in someone's hands who, use it as a sales tool for a shop. If I'm wanting to shop, that's my goal. I hope to sell the shops. Just because I come from a retail background, I know what a help it is to have some sort of sales tool. So that'd be a good sales tool for them instead of just these little green lizards that are gonna turn blue.
People want to see the blue with the electric blue day geckos. I think just seeing the babies does not do it justice.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't do it justice at all. As someone who got 2 females originally, I was initially really bummed. Actually, I learned to like the females' natural behavior and pattern. Because I'm like, wow, they blend in so well. They're so good at not.
I think they're super pretty.
Yeah, I mean they're ugly, but they're pretty at the same time. Someone keeps making noise in here. I think it's her, the long female. I would like to get her a male.
There's a guy in Tampa. Tampa, I think he's selling a shit ton, like a 2.3.5.
Yeah, I need to find someone who's looking to do the same thing and just trade.
Yeah. There's a guy in Jacksonville. I'll send you his Facebook. I'm used to be decently close with him, but he breeds electric blues and dart frogs and all kinds of stuff, and he'd definitely be interested in trading babies with you, or something like that.
Yeah, I would love to trade, babies, some to get another male.
And then there's a.
Still want to clean up. Different bloodlines would be perfect.
Definitely. All about conservation and not inbreeding.
Yeah, I think just going off of fish, because I don't really necessarily think it's true for fish, or what my keeping's not for fish. With fish is not this way. I think there's a big difference between working with an animal and keeping an animal, and I keep a pet. I keep, 1 or 2 ball pythons. That's keeping a pet. Working with an animal like this, I'm keeping them for my enjoyment, but I'm also trying to breed them because I believe that truly they need to. More people need to get them because they are so rare.
Yeah.
If anyone isn't unaware of the electric blue dago, it's pretty popular in the hobby nowadays, honestly. But it comes from an 8-kilometer region in Tanzania.
Oh wow!
So that's a very small region. It's not very there's not a whole lot of population. There's for we deal with habitat loss. There's not a whole lot of space for population of them anyway. So I think as a species that could be wiped out like that, we want to build insurance colonies.
100%.
And they can't be imported anymore. I believe is the CITES 1 that means you can't get imported anymore?
Yeah, I want to say they're CITES.
Yeah, so they're CITES 1. Then or whatever it is, we can't get imported anymore. So I really think it's important.
I agree with you, man. That's my whole goal with the monkey tails as well. Literally, same goal.
Yeah. If I didn't think it was the same, if I didn't think it was that way, I would just be keeping these guys, and I wouldn't be doing stuff like that to my tank. Or if you see this is how we set up breeding.
Yeah, kind of go in depth. Explain that a little bit. I'll pop up pictures on the screen. So.
Yeah. So do you want me to point it out on here though?
Yeah, you can point it out on there as well.
This black piece you see here, that's my nozzle for my misting. But there's green pieces. There's little floral tubes. Here's one I haven't cleaned yet. So they're floral tubes. This is a white one, not a green one. I just get what I get.
Where do you get those at?
So I don't know where to buy them. You can buy them on Amazon, but they have the long tips on them. They have a long tip on them. um, that I've seen people just cut off or just leave on there. I think Frank Payne just leaves his on there. I think these are really cool because I just get them from, they don't have it. They just have a flat bottom. And I get these from work.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the business I work for has a what's it called? A florist shop. Like bouquets of flowers and what are the things that you wear at prom? Boutonniere or whatever.
I know what you're talking. I don't know the name of it. I never went to prom.
It gets pinned on them.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of these that come in just like with their shipments of plants, and they also use like a different kind than the one that comes. So these they just kind of collect and use as a gift, or they throw them away. And they've just been giving them to me. I just rinse them out, and then oh my bad, I'm not looking at the camera. I solder a bunch of holes in them.
Okay. Is that just for breathability?
Yeah, so they don't. When they get in the incubator, it gets really humid.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that water gets caught on the top lip, and then falls down, and then they're standing water in them around the eggs.
Yeah.
And I'm not the most knowledgeable on I'm not the world's most knowledgeable on breeding reptiles. I'm still learning.
Mm-hmm.
I figured that wasn't good, so I just started coming up with a game plan to get rid of that. So I just soldered a bunch of holes in it. Here's another one. It's just got a ton of holes soldered in it.
Is it just Velcro, that black?
Yeah, it's just Velcro.
Okay.
And then there's Velcro on the tank.
Okay.
And probably should tell you the reason why we do that is because electric blue day geckos are an arboreal species. So they lay their eggs. It's probably a good thing for an arboreal species, like a strictly arboreal species, the eggs not to be able to move once they lay them. So they technically called egg gluers. And is that something a lot of other
yeah, that's a common term.
Lizards are? Okay, there you go. So they're egg gluers, so you can't really move the eggs once they're gone, once they're laid. So we put these in there because they like a nice tight spot.
Okay.
And that way they're not laying it in like the edges of the background or like in a spot that I can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, these tubes, that's what these are.
Now, how many do you do per tank? Like, do you do like one per female, a couple per female, or does it not really matter?
I try to keep 3 in there.
Okay.
I keep 3. The female in there has 2, because she doesn't really lay eggs. And she just chills in the tube if she can't fly.
Mm-hmm.
I've only got 2 in there because I haven't put the other ones in yet. I've just pulled more eggs.
Now, what is that thing?
But here's
sorry, keep going.
Here's what the eggs look like inside the tube.
Oh.
So I don't know if you can tell these have already hatched.
I was just about to ask that.
Yeah, these have already hatched.
Sweet.
And they're still connected in the tube. Like what?
That's great. So how do you remove it, or do you just buy new tubes?
Oh, I just hit that with
something
hard. It's usually just like a cotton swab or
Q-tip.
I just hit it real hard and flush it out with water.
Okay.
And it leaves like the glue impression inside of them. Honestly, the ones that I've noticed, like they just lay right back on top of like where they had laid previously.
Oh wow, that means you got it perfect, man. They like that spot.
Yeah, I'm like, cool. The one thing is, one time I left too much space in between these gaps, and they were able to crawl in, and they didn't lay. I have had them lay on top of like one of the two. Like I've had them lay like if the tubes are like this, lay right here on top of the tube. They laid this big blue monstrosity that some people probably thought was the male. No, Gavin did.
Yeah.
Is a food cup food cup with holes poked in it and Scotch tape laid over it, laying flush against the glass. I think I put some peat moss in there with water, like little soaked peat moss.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the reason that is because they laid up against the glass instead of laying on top of it.
Oh,
My
okay.
thing's like always worst case scenario they lay on that, but they didn't. They laid on the glass, and
Did that trick end up working?
I had to move everything and then cover them up because the parents will eat their babies.
Interesting. So how
I'm sorry.
once you get the eggs, what is your process then? Like how do you go about incubating them and all that jazz? Just you personally.
I built a DIY incubator out of a cooler.
Okay.
It's on a Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles YouTube. So yeah, he makes it's really easy to make that one. What I did add is a fan in there because
In the incubator?
Yeah.
Okay.
I added a fan in there just because it helps control the humidity a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't have as much standing water in there. Yeah, that works really well. And then for tracking the temperature, I actually use the Govi app.
Yep, I have that on this cage right here. I love it. You probably won't get that to focus.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, you won't ever get it. But it shows like incubator. I have one of the sensors named Incubator 1 and one of them Incubator 2, and each one is a sim box inside of it.
A sim container?
I don't know what size sim. Huh?
One of the sim containers?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have one in each sim container. So
Sweet.
One's Incubator 1, one's Incubator 2. I don't know what
Size?
yeah, I don't know what the size in sim containers I have.
I think you have the smalls, if I remember correctly.
I don't have the little ones that your buddy has.
The extra smalls?
Dude, I want those though. I like those.
Those are definitely cool, but I don't think this would work for you. Only because, like,
No?
I can't see. I don't think the tubes would fit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look at like dimensions. I haven't looked at that. That's the only time I've ever seen them like that. I was like, that's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, if it fits, that would definitely be the move, because that would be the little small ones are sweet.
Yeah, and I could just see it being easier to catch the babies out of there.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that is the one thing it had like I have yet to open up that container and been expecting the babies when they didn't come. It's always a surprise. It's always open up the can. Oh crap, they're babies. Like,
oh, so you can't see into the incubator at all?
No, it's a cooler.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Like an igloo cooler.
Yeah,
it's an igloo cooler. That's what it is. But you can't. So you have to open it up, which like is fine. It doesn't lose that much temperature. These guys aren't particularly crazy on temperature like controls either.
Mm-hmm.
They seem to hatch no matter what. Like right now, mine are at 79.8 and 80.3.
What's the just out of curiosity, what's the humidity like on there?
I don't know. I don't know if I trust the sensor. It's 99.9. So I don't know if that's true. But again, they seem to hatch no matter what.
That's good.
And I haven't had any hatch unhealthily or anything.
How many babies do you have right now?
8.
8?
Yeah, 8.
Holy, dude, you have way more than I thought. What the heck? I thought you had like 4 total.
No, I have like 8. I have 4 ready to go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have 4 ready to go. Yeah, if anyone
his description, his links for social medias are down below. So if you're looking for electric blue day geckos, hit them up.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I would love to get them in the hands of people who want them.
And you're willing to you ship, right? Throughout, you're willing to, willing to try.
willing to try, and I'll guarantee it, I guess. And if it doesn't work out, I'll eat the cost of shipping, and obviously you won't pay for the animal. I think we could figure it out. The way Frank shipped them in the middle of summer in Florida was fairly. I remember it was like that's the easiest thing. That looks like the easiest thing ever. Seems way easier than fish.
Speaking of fish, let's get back onto the topic of fish. Stop rambling about reptiles. So
it's part of it.
Yeah. So you had the 10-gallon. When did you join the fish club? I want to get into that. Like, how did you join that? Like, how did that come about?
I think I was in 7th grade, 6th grade.
Okay.
It was funny. I still have that NFFK T-shirt.
I have my ID card in Jacksonville.
You have your ID card?
I do.
I don't have my ID card. I do have my my T-shirt. So yeah, North Florida Fish Keepers was a group that was around for, I don't know how long it was around for before I joined, but it was around until I was sophomore or junior in high school. I think I joined in 6th grade, and you started coming around in 7th grade.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
I'm 12. I'm 12, or how old are you in 6th grade? 11?
Something like that. If you were 12, I was a year younger.
We're in that age group. We were really young. The first year, I had to be younger than 13, because 13 is when you can get a Facebook. The first year I was part of the group, and the whole big thing was like, they had a Facebook group and like meetings every month, and a lot of the social, a lot of the information was shared over the
Facebook.
And I had to use my mom's Facebook to use it, and then I finally got it, and whenever you can get Facebook, I think it's 13, and then that kind of set it on the course. That was a really cool group. I really wish we could get something going again.
The Facebook group's still there. It's North Florida Fish Keepers, for anyone
the Facebook.
Curious.
The club's no longer there. A couple.
That stuff was fun. Like you mentioned, we did.
Just like a lot of people. It's a lot of work. I think they were like a 501 or whatever. They're one of the OC 01C charities or whatever, or nonprofits. It's a lot of paperwork to do that. You got to have a treasurer, you got to have a president, you have to have all those things. And the community started, dating.
We used to do a bunch of field trips too, so there was a lot of coordinating.
Yeah. The field trips were amazing. Like we went to the Imperial Aquatics. Yeah,
that was the only one I went to, I think, but that was fun. Once you got more involved into the hobby and stuff, what species? Like, I know the answer to this, but for everyone listening, what species of fish did you start wanting to work with and keep, and all of that stuff?
Puckers for sure.
Mm-hmm. Freshwater or saltwater?
Freshwater. I'm a freshwater guy. I've done brackets. Haven't delved into the world fault, and I don't really want to. I think they're very pretty. There's a couple really cool species in there. Actually, I have that MC20 long right there. I'm tempted to set up for salt.
Oh, really? What would you... Really?
But it's one of the very few species that could get me into salt.
May I ask what species that would be?
So, cuttles.
Cuttlefish?
Yeah, so I believe it's C. Bandedzensis, Bandinensis, I think, is how you pronounce it. I don't know. The banded cuttlefish, or
the saltwater store here in Gainesville, Coral King. Shout out to Alan who runs that. He gets those in every once in a while.
Or the
flamboyant.
Flamboyant.
Yeah,
the flamboyant.
He got one of those, and it was insane.
I think the bandits are cooler because they're like they're very pretty as well, but they have like that old like classic cuttlefish look.
Yeah.
Where like the flamboyants are really really cool because they're really really pretty, but they're kind of like
They don't look like a cuttlefish.
they look weird, you know. So
Yeah.
they're cool. Either one of those and the flamboyants aren't captive bred very easily yet. From my understanding, I've done a whole lot of research. There's not a whole lot of information on cuddles out there.
Yeah. Remember a few years back, I wanted to get into them, but puffers. Let's get into that.
Yes. Okay. So yeah.
Well, while you're finishing that, let's get into like what species and why.
Yeah. I really just like puffers. I just think they're the big eyes. I don't know if they're actually smarter. I believe they are, but you know, someone brought up a very good point. Famous YouTuber, sorry about that. Famous YouTuber, brought up a point. They may not actually be smarter. They might just have bigger eyes and be able to notice people better. And I'm like, oh, that's also a good point.
That makes sense.
But I just love their personalities. If that's what you want to call it. But their characteristics and traits are fun. There's so many different kinds and sizes and adaptations. One of my favorites is two of my favorites are not a common puffer or common puffer body type. You know, the Petrodon Marius or the Congo puffers. Those are they kind of look like a rock, and they sit at the bottom of the bottom. And then Petrodon du Bois has a very similar look.
Yeah,
and that's one of
those guys.
That's cool. One of my dreams. I would really like to.
What's the common name on that, if you know?
The Bois puffer.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they even have one because they are so rare.
Why are they so rare?
I think they're from Africa. I think they're from a part of Africa you just don't get a whole lot of fish from. There's quite a few of those African puffers are tough to get.
Yeah.
For a while, Mabu they weren't hard, but they weren't easy to get. For a while, Petrodon Shaventai or Shaventai puffer or spotted Congo puffers, whatever you want to call them, they were really hard to get. Marius puffers were always hard to get, or like very seasonal. And then the orange ones, which
that's what you had, right?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to keep one and lost them to the parasites, but that sucked so hard. That's one of my dream fish. And I don't know if I'm going to try them again for a while now. What else is from there? Oh, the Cross River puffer.
That was my next question.
There's so many puffers from Africa that are super hard to get, which some of them are becoming more popular. Like all of those except for the Boise that I mentioned are becoming easier to get. Shodentai has been captive bred quite a few people are doing it. Cross rivers were literally impossible. Never saw one ever for over about a decade.
I feel like this last year I've been seeing cross rivers for sale all over the place.
Yeah.
Are they being imported in more? Is that why?
No, when I first learned about them, the conclusion was they were functionally extinct.
Oh wow!
And I believe they still are. Someone captive bred them. I believe it was up in Ohio or someone bred them up in the northern U.S.
Oh wow!
And then. Do you know Wes?
What? Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, Wes. He was I think he was the first person to distribute them.
That's sweet.
But yeah, what's wild is like natural environment aquatic, and Jack has them. That's two.
That's cool.
They're $1,000 a piece, which isn't a bad price. I just don't have an 8-foot tank to take them. So that's definitely a species I would love to keep. I don't want to work with them. I don't want to breed them. They're too big. I think you probably need an 8x4x4 or 8.
Damn.
Something crazy. And, if they're anything like Oaxacas, with how you breed them, you need, like, deep, you need, like, a pressurized tank. They breed deep.
Whoa, what? How
Yeah.
they, like, bury in the sand or something?
Oaxacas are from, the Congo.
Mm-hmm.
And so much is not known about the Congo River, but what I do know is there's 150-foot pools in there.
Oh, shit.
So, like, that's what I've been told. I don't know. I've done a whole lot of research into it, but some trusted puffer guys, that I have told me, yeah, it's 150 foot deep. So
people are doing like 6 foot tall tanks type stuff.
I don't know how they're breeding them.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't know how many. I don't know too many people breeding Oaxacas. I'm sure it's being done. It could be like clown loaches where it's being done chemically mainly.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Isn't Imperial breeding them?
Clowns?
Yeah. Like,
I don't know.
I know they
sell Florida bred ones.
I think they breed them.
Are chemically bred. I don't know. They might. Imperial's great farm.
Mm-hmm.
I really like them. So I don't know how the cross river puffers are bred, but I assume being a large puffer from Africa and not knowing anything about the cross river or anything like that, other than I know general care about the puffer is pretty standard for large puffers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them in near anything; they're gonna kill everything. And shelled foods and clean water.
Yeah.
And probably species only, or probably just a single specimen only tank. So I don't want to work with them, but that's one I would love to keep. But so many of the super rare puffers
mm-hmm.
are coming from Africa, where it's like the Boise, I like Mirius, like Sudan, where there's conflict, and
Makes sense.
not really worth a human life to go get a fish.
Yeah, I understand. There's a lot of reptiles like that.
Yeah, and it sucks as a hobbyist, but then you're like, hope they figure out that they're moratorium. I hope they figure out their differences first.
Yeah. So backing up a little bit.
Figure out your differences so I can get my fish.
So backing up a little bit. What was the first puffer you kept? Because I know you mentioned you wanted to keep a green spotted when you were like in 3rd grade. So did you get one when you were in 3rd grade?
I still never kept a green spot.
Really?
Yeah, I kept a figure 8 with my first
That's
puffer.
what it was.
I've kept a couple figure 8s. I kept, and then I got a bumblebee puffer, and then it was just
bumblebee puffer. I didn't know you had that. So what kind of tanks did you have for
puffers.
those?
South American puffer. I remember buying it and it being the only one that was available at the store. And South American puffers are a schooling fish, and I couldn't ever find another one to pair it with. And I think he lived out his days in a 30 bow.
34?
A 30 bow.
Oh, okay.
29 bow, 28 bow.
Yeah.
I ended up selling him someone in the club.
People would just bring in the fish they had and auction them off or trade them. And I got one of my favorite fish to this day is the L183 bristlenose plecos, the Starlights. Mm-hmm. And I remember vividly going when we had our Cub Scouts meeting and picking up one in the school parking lot from one of the meetings.
Mm-hmm. And, I got a 114 there, L1114, leopard cactus pleco, Psittacanthus leopardus.
Sweet.
I think those are the CF leopardus, the 114s. And the leopardus are the L600s. Not sure though. Someone will correct me.
So you kept figure 8s, the bumblebee, and you said the South American?
The South American is the bumblebee.
Oh, okay.
I've kept peas and kept Marius now, but I quarantined Marius. I had him for about 3 months before he ended up tanking. And then I have a red tail now.
I forgot you currently have a puffer.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my only tank right now is a pin yall with a red tail.
So
it was a quarantine tank, and he did have a girlfriend, and he did beat the shit out of her and killed her.
That's how all my pea puffers went.
Yeah, I mean, puffers are mean to each other, and I basically turned it into a real tank, trying to keep him from beating her out by adding so many different visual blockers and stuff like that. Feeding them separately, feeding her way more, moving her into a different tank.
It still didn't work.
Reintroducing her when she put on a little bit of size, and yeah, he just overly aggressive.
Damn.
Probably should try to, if I want to try to breed them, which, I mean, they shouldn't be too difficult to breed. If I want to try to breed them, probably should try to get a different male.
Well, it's less aggressive.
I've had him for 18 months now. I don't want to get rid of him, I'm going to hold on to him. And as much as I want to do cuddles in that 20, I probably won't. I'll probably just get a couple more females, grow them up in the 20, and then when I think they're ready to handle him, put him in there. I'll probably throw a lot of dithers in there.
Mm-hmm. What would you use as dither fish?
I know, I want to breed them, but it's not. I do want to make a really cool looking tank too. And they're from Borneo or Myanmar. That area, Indonesia, Myanmar, that area. So, and I believe they're right around the same area as the Kubutai reservoirs, Microdivarium Kubutai. Yeah, so would love to put those two together. Maybe put a little bit darker water, let the tannins fill in a little bit.
That'd be sweet.
That'd be really natural. Obviously, it wouldn't be the most conducive to breeding, but I'm not super worried about everything. I'd like to get a spawn or two and then kind of just to say, check it off. And
then, keep them as pets from then on out.
Yeah, because right now I don't have the space or facilities to breed a lot of fish. I'm already breeding a lot of lizards, and I think that project takes precedence. The red tail puffers are not rare by any means. The Carneotetrodon, you'll find it on
anywhere,
a website for $15 to $30, depending on your market. All across the US,
so let's.
Might be a little seasonal. That's about it.
Okay. So if someone wanted to get into pufferfish, would you recommend it as a beginner-ish fish? And if so, what species and what size tank, or just no, not at all?
So this is a I texted you earlier, right before I went into the gym. I wanted to talk about the one inch per gallon rule.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk, and then I thought about it, and I wanted to talk about this too. Rating fish: easy, beginner, medium, difficult, extremely difficult, advanced only. These guys, I don't think you should rate. I don't think you should count animals. That's not a good way to rank animals. These guys are, by every parakeet I've ever seen, at least moderate and not beginners. I haven't kept reptiles since I was 6 years old. I've never actually kept them. My mom took care of my bearded dragons when I was little. And I think, I don't know if you remember that. Do you remember that?
I do.
Dragons?
I do remember those.
Yeah, my mom took care of them until she got tired of taking care of them for me because I said I would take care of them. I was 6.
See, I think with reptiles at least, I've been saying this for quite a little while now, and I'll stand by it. I don't think there's no such thing as a reptile that's not for beginners. I think if you do the proper research, you set up the cage properly, set up the proper husbandry, and you have the money, funds, and energy to put in the time and effort with that species, you'll do great. I just think it's all about having the proper research and the proper money. Because like a perfect example would be electric blues are a great example. Like not many people would recommend an electric blue day gecko to someone who's never owned reptiles before. Another one would be like, keep going.
And I don't think it's. I think reptiles has a little bit more of a rating in there, and that there are quite a few reptiles that can legitimately hurt you.
Yeah.
But even that, like those are excluded, obviously. Like, obviously, don't get one that can really hurt you.
Yeah. I definitely would not include venomous or crocodilians in my statement. But even big monitors, man, I feel like if you do enough research and, if you should add training to that list, train with someone else's animals, mentor under them, you can still get one as your first reptile. You just got to make sure you know your shit, know what you're doing. You can't just get an animal and not know anything about it.
Yeah. So like literally, I don't know, I think I have a good look and my animals are healthy, they're breeding, picking up healthy babies. And this is my first tank I built ever. I mean, I had bearded dragons when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And they didn't last. We got rid of them pretty quickly, like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So I've never taken care of reptiles, and I'm able to. And I think it's all due to effort, research, and just general common sense.
Yeah.
And the people around you. Like, do you have people around you who know reptiles or fish or whatever? Gavin knows reptiles.
You know fish.
I knew 110% that I could call him up with any issues and he would be able to help. But even then, if you have a local reptile store staff, generally pretty awesome, pretty good. They might not know the specifics of your lizard. You might have to do, or reptile, you might have to do a little bit of research, tell them specifically what you need, and they can help you get the technical information or the factual information to the technical application. Because the one thing I knew I wanted them to have a 95 degree basking spot. 95 degrees, where I like it.
Yeah.
They seem to really enjoy it. I knew I wanted them to have that level of basking spot. I didn't know how to calculate what bulb I needed to use at how far. So I went to Extreme Exotics and told them it was what the room temperature of my house is, what the how far away from the lid it was, and they were able to point me to what bulb I need to get there.
Perfect, yeah. But I feel like that statement I said doesn't really apply to fish because, I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong. For anyone that doesn't know, I have been keeping fish for a long time, but I am not the best fish keeper at all, and I go to Mitchell for literally any fish questions I have. He is my Google when it comes to fish. So what would you, do you think controlling the water quality and all of that, does that make it difficult for for the pufferfish, for example? Is that a reason why you'd say they wouldn't be a good beginner fish?
To answer your question, I think it still applies to fish because effort is everything. Taking care of water is more difficult. So with more sensitive fish, you could say, I would say if you're a reptile keeper already, or if you're a amphibian keeper already, if you're a exotic mammals keeper, I wouldn't consider mammal keeper a dog or a cat person, probably that level. But if you keep animals that are
exotic,
more technical, and you feel like you are technically adept at one part of them, and you understand the effort it takes to become an expert at that, then you're still a beginner at taking care of fish, or reptiles or whatever. I think if you know the effort and you have the resources, you could probably get into more difficult fish.
Makes sense.
I wouldn't suggest you go into the highest difficulty, most sensitive fish. I wouldn't go with import discus. If you wanted to do discus, as 6 months into the hobby, if you wanted to do discus, you might want to get wild caughts. That are a little bit tougher, generally. I know that's a big thing with the reptile people, not recommending wild caughts, but fish world it's a little bit more acceptable. I don't recommend it on the reptile side of things, but on fish world it's a little bit more acceptable. We're not damaging the populations nearly as bad. Maybe we are. I don't know. That might not be a factually true statement, but it's more acceptable on the fish side of the hobby. So yeah, I think if people did want to dive into a puffer for their first puffer, any of the Carniotetrodons, so pea puffers, red-eye, red-tailed, Carniotetrodon urbesthes, what I carry. That's the red-eye, red-tailed. Pea puffers are Carniotetrodon crassivores, if anyone's wondering. I don't know. Is that helpful? Like, do people just look up by a common name, right?
Yeah. I'm also going to add pictures and stuff. I'm trying to edit more.
Yeah, with the red tails, there is 3 different red-eye, red-tail puffers. So that's where I say the name. So Carniotetrodon urbesthes, red-eye, red-tail. Carniotetrodon salvadori is red-eye puffer, red-tail, and then there's Carniotetrodon loredi as well.
Okay.
They're all 3 are.
I really like the loredi.
Was it the loredi or the salvadori that you liked?
I like them both, but I want to say the loredi was the one I liked the most.
Okay. All right, whatever you like. The and then the Carniotetrodon imitator. You'll probably never. If you decide to go with a puffer, you're probably gonna go with the pea puffer because they're smaller. You can get a group.
What about the figure 8 puffer?
Take more space.
For what?
Give them a gallon. For puffers, pea puffers especially, people tend to shove them in a 5 gallon, 1 in a 5 gallon. They shove them in a 10 gallon, 2 or 3 in a 10 gallon. If you can get 4. You can get 4 and throw them in a 20, but the more space, the easier water to take care of. The more water, the
more control you have, right?
The more, yeah. I mean, the less time, the more dilution.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the easier to take care of water.
Yeah.
The more water there is. Sorry, my water just
you're
my drinking water. So yeah, there's
And those are full freshwater species, everything you just listed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about the figure 8?
Brackish.
Okay.
Figure 8's great puffer. Love that I started out with them. Brackish is not the easiest thing in the world. GSPs, most common puffer you can find probably. Not so much anymore. I don't really see a whole lot of them in stores anymore. I don't also look that hard. Because it makes me sad when I see them. But not a whole lot more. I don't see them a whole lot anymore. Make me sad when I see them, so I don't really look that hard. They're probably the hardest puffer to start off with because they are so available, and they do have a hard life cycle to follow.
Okay.
You pretty much always find us in a freshwater tank. You got to immediately get them to bracket, or pretty quickly get them brought to bracket.
Yeah.
And then after that, you have to move up in salinity to basically marine levels. I've seen them in I think they spend the rest of their life in full marine.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
They actually look really pretty under marine lights, and marine guys kind of have the different light spectrum.
Kind of like that look.
Yeah, it's a little. Their lights are generally different than a 65K plant light.
Yeah.
And they look they green spots look amazing in them. I like it.
I'll have to throw up a picture right now of one because that sounds awesome.
Yeah, they're just not being on. I don't think they're a good puffer for people to start with. I think any of the Carniotetrodons would be good. South American puffers are a little bit more difficult. Probably would stick away from them for a little while just because they can have issues with a beak.
So if you had to pick one species of puffer, you're like, you want to get into puffers, go with this species. What would that be?
Any of the red tails. Any of the red tails.
Okay.
They're basic. They're interchangeable. So Iridescue, Blue Red Eye, Salvador, they have the same care.
Okay. Sweet.
Same care. They look similar. I think Iridescue looks the best because it has a red eye and a red tail.
Mm-hmm.
They're sexually dimorphic, so I believe all three are sexually dimorphic.
So easy to tell apart.
Yeah, so they're easy to tell males from females. Their snail size that you need to feed them is not crazy huge that you have to go out and buy clams or but it's also not crazy small like feeds where you have to daily harvest the babies. You have to find the babies.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta find the baby snails because most people don't even say you need to feed peas to snail. I've never seen peas happier than when they're eating a snail though. So
interesting. Yeah, I only fed mine bloodworms. Mine also died within a month, so I guess that's not really saying much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that get through feeding them bloodworms just fine. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I prefer. I think the way I see them, I like watching them eat snails.
Yeah, breaking it open and
I
all
like
that.
the way they move, and that's really one of the reasons why I love puffers so much is their ability to their ability to float in and out of water. If you, I just rewatched Top Gun, so it's probably affecting my judgment. I think they look like fighter jets in the air, in the water. They just
That's funny.
you see them they kind of float, and then they do their weird thing where they float, and then they'll explode towards a snail, and then they'll do this thing where they go right at the snail, and they look like you're about to attack, and then they hit the brakes, and they rotate around, and then they hit it from a different angle.
That's cool.
And that's something I love. I've watched it 1,000 times.
Before we leave the puffer topic, what have you ever seen? You personally seen a freshwater puffer puff up in captivity?
Yeah, I saw him puff up not too long ago.
Really? What caused it?
I think he's just flexing the muscle.
Okay.
I think the pea puffers, you'll probably never see them puff. If you do, you probably won't be able to tell. It's so small.
So do you think those fahakas, maboos, and cross rivers?
I've seen pictures of maboos.
Ooh,
I've seen pictures of fahakas. Never kept them, and that's a rare occurrence, and it's generally not in front of the owner. I'm lucky that my bed is a corner in the room, and it was dark, and the light was on, and I was just there and watching him, and
you just did it real quick,
and I saw him fluff up, and it was literally a second.
That's so cool.
It's one of those things. If you ever want to picture it, you have to have a camera sitting there, and you probably have to be saying, "I'm gonna catch him puffing up," and spend a solid 2 hours every single day watching him, and for a year, and you might not get that puff. It's such a rare occurrence.
Oh
to see
wow!
him.
I didn't think it'd be that rare.
When they do it, it's
oh okay, so it's short.
It's so quick. You're just flexing the muscle,
Mm-hmm.
So he hit it, and then he let go, and it was cool.
That's cool.
But it was so, and I think I saw my South American puffer puff up. Either that, or he was at least slightly puffed and kind of a defensive posture against himself in the glass. The first time you put a black background on, sometimes it gets a little bit of mirror look.
Yeah, I've had some betas do that.
If you don't use if you don't paint it on, if you just put a trash bag, I used to use 55-gallon trash bags, because they're in my garage. And my dad, no, and I just put them, tape them on there. But they're expensive now. Now that I know I work for a hardware store, I know they're expensive. You could have gone and used paper, buy paper.
So, steering away from the puffer topic before we end it here, I know you wanted to mention the 1 inch per gallon rule, so I'd like to go over that and your opinions on that. And then I also want to go over just real quick, like plecos and algae. I want to talk about that real quick as well.
Yeah.
So let's do the 1 inch per gallon first.
So 1 inch per gallon is a rule that is very controversial, and nowadays you'll hear a lot of people saying, "No, you can't don't tell new people about the 1 inch per gallon rule. The 1 inch per gallon rule doesn't apply." And Gavin, I think you and I have talked about this before, where it comes down to common sense. Do you work at a place that sells fish, and do you ever tell people about that rule for stocking tanks, or do they train you on like what?
They train us on what we're supposed to say and all that, but no, that's not a topic any of us really use or promote.
Okay, so yeah, it used to be a big thing in pet stores. Now I don't ever hear it.
I've had customers bring it up to me, and I really just say it kind of just depends on what fish you're working with and like what size tank and all that. It really just depends on so many factors.
And it's one of those things people don't use common sense when they're applying the rule. Or like the argument for people against it is like so-called experts in the hobby. Like, I don't think any of us are experts.
Yeah.
Sorry. Maybe if you've been doing it 30 years, like there are some legitimate experts. They're probably not listening to this podcast. They're sitting in their basement with their fish.
Yeah.
They're really cool guys. I've seen YouTube videos of their fish room that was 7 years ago, and that's the only one they've ever done, because the experts are the guys that aren't talking about anything.
Yeah.
It's the
same with the reptiles, man. No true reptile. I would say no true reptile expert or like big time OG keeper that's been keeping since like the early days. 99% of them are not on social media at all. A lot of the big guys
aren't on social media, and they're not talking about it. Really, they share the information with their buddies.
Yeah,
and it gets out eventually. It gets around. So yeah, I come like the so-called experts online, always saying like the 1 inch per gallon rule is dumb. Don't tell people about that. That's wrong. But the argument they use for it is one that lacks common sense. They go, you can't. It's not. The rule is about stocking fish. How many fish can fit in my tank at a safe level? We always want to underestimate with people who don't know how many. If you don't know like what a good stocking level of a tank is, you're probably pretty novice, and you need a general rule.
You need a Mitchell.
That's a good general rule that 1 inch of fish per gallon will not leave. It won't let you get overstocked on tank. It is not a rule on the size of fish allowed in a tank. So many people go, you can't say 1 inch per gallon on how many fish you're allowed in a tank. Someone's going to get a 10-inch fish and put it in a 10-gallon and be like, it's fine.
Yeah.
And that totally lacks common sense, and that's a totally, I don't know, I feel it's an irresponsible argument.
So you're saying, we'll just use earlier today, for example, like, let's say Neon Tetras max out at like an inch and a half, maybe 2?
Yeah.
And so you're saying if someone wants to get a school of neons for a 20-gallon, like I did earlier today, do 20 neon, like 15, 20 neons?
They could probably do 15, 20 neons, and that's not an overstock tank.
Yeah.
You're not going to overstress a bioload with 20 neon tetras.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do it this way, you're not going to overload the bioload of a 20-gallon tank with with 7 guppies that get 3 inches.
Yeah.
That's my argument for it. It's a great rule to teach people roughly how many fish can fit in their tank. If it's not planted, it's just got a basic filter on it. You're just basic, brand new keeper.
Yeah.
I think it's a great rule. But common sense has to be applied to it.
That makes sense.
And people who are saying not to suggest it, I feel, are assuming that all people getting into fish are lacking common sense.
Yeah.
You know, when they say that, they're like, "Oh, we got to make everything super easy for beginners."
Yeah,
There's
makes
a lot
sense.
of that, like, I mean, yeah, we should make it easier for them, but don't treat them like they're dumb. You know? Like,
Yeah.
I hate when people like post like a graphic of like the nitrogen cycle, and it's like fish poop turns into feed bacteria, clean water.
Yeah. You don't gotta dumb it down
like,
for people.
There are good graphics out there that like explain it in like a more adult way, but even when I was 8 years old, I could read nitrifying bacteria need nitrogen.
Yeah.
Got it. Like, even when I was young, I could understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't treat them and I hate it when like a new person like, how do I cycle my tank? And someone posts that in like a Facebook comment.
Yeah.
Throws out this dumb graphic.
It's always the
I'm
Facebook posts.
You're noobifying them too much. Like, you're making them feel stupid.
Yeah.
And they're not stupid. You can talk to them like adults, or talk to them like.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've honestly never thought about it that way, and that's a great way. It's honestly, if I ever get asked about the 1 inch per gallon at work, I'm probably going to use that analogy, that whole thing, because that's genius.
Yeah, like obviously you can't put a 10-inch black ghost knife, which black ghost knives don't get 10, they get 18 or something. Hey, lights off.
Yeah, I gotta turn these off soon.
You can't put like a 10-inch black ghost in a 10-gallon tank.
Yeah.
They get bigger than that. But you
can do 10 neons.
That's common sense on learning what fish can fit. Of what fish can fit in this 10-gallon, how many can I get?
Yeah.
That's what I think you should be. The rule should be thinking under the guise of, and I think that's what it is. I think people are just
idiots.
They don't apply common sense.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, guys.
So another beginner topic that is huge debate is, do plecos clean algae? I know this is a really loaded question.
Is water wet?
No.
I think water is wet. I don't know.
I'll say my.
I know that question is like. Someone has answered it. I'm pretty sure water is wet.
I think water as a whole is wet, but an individual, like the individual, like hydrogen molecule is not wet. So alright.
It's one of those questions we could break it down all the way. Do some species of plecos eat algae? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do they do a great job of it?
No.
Not really. Do the plecostomus, right, that everyone thinks of, eat algae well? No. That, like, the hypo or
hippopotamus looking mess. Yeah, I know which ones. Just the common ones.
Yeah, common plecos. There's Glybiceps or sailfin plecos, and then there's like the commons. I forgot what those ones are. I think it's like HYPO something. Plecostomus. They do not. No, they should not be in the hobby. They're not good fish to keep as pets.
Yeah.
They get huge. They don't eat algae unless they're very young. But bristlenose, I think they do a good job of eating algae. You know, but they're going to eat specific types of algae. You're going to eat brown algae. You're not going to eat green algae, really. You're not going to eat hair algae. You're not going to eat a lot of algae that a lot of people are going to run into, especially when you get into like high level planted lights and people not really understanding how to use them properly. I think that's a lot of people. A ton of people don't know how to use them properly.
Yeah.
They don't. They too much time lit, too much light, too much fertilizer, not enough CO2, not enough plant light. A lot of things.
They just get an LED light, throw it on top of the tank, and leave it on all day. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Or buy a $150 planted light, but don't have any plants on the tank. You're gonna have a lot of algae.
Yeah.
So plecos, like bristlenose will eat. Bristlenose will eat algae, but they don't eat a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're the best cleanup crew for most tanks. For larger tanks that are a little bit more aggressive and you have to have some, a little bit tougher to fight its way out, be able to survive in there, bristlenose would be a pretty good option on top of you going in there and cleaning it yourself.
Yeah. So what would you recommend to someone they're having, we'll say an algae break, but if you don't mind getting into some different specifics or different types of algae, but what would you recommend if they're set, they want to fish?
Are you having an algae breakout?
No, actually, I'm good.
I was gonna say we can talk about one of yours if you want.
I was having green water, not really green algae, but
yeah. So that's a hard one to deal with. That one sucks.
I honestly haven't done shit to it, and that's why I keep looking over to my right. I haven't touched this tank in like 2-3 weeks, and it's crystal clear right now. So it just went away.
Don't mess with what's working.
Yeah.
Although shame on you for not doing weekly water changes. No, you can't.
There's nothing in there, man.
Working, doing weekly water changes, don't do weekly water changes. I do weekly water changes on my tank because everything's working perfectly doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, doing it that way. And he seems happy and healthy in there. Him and that one Odo. So Odos, certain species, the common Odos and I think the zebra Odos both do decently well at.
So not all species.
No, the orange heads tend to. I think they like a little bit more wood in their diet.
Oh.
I think they eat it too, but they like a little bit more wood. I noticed when I had the bulldog Odo,
mm-hmm.
he really liked the shrimp pellets I was dropping in there.
The shrimp pellets?
I was dropping in shrimp pellets for different species, and yeah, he liked them. The bulldog Odo, they're not very common either. Bulldogs, orange heads. Again, I can't remember the scientific name on those. Aren't very common. The Herald I have, he likes a lot of wood, but he does eat a little bit of algae too. I noticed, but yeah, I think he's mainly eating wood in there.
Mm-hmm. What if someone's having a black hair algae problem? Would you recommend Odos for that?
Fish I know the only fish that I know they eat it is
it's a shark, right?
Rainbow sharks do eat algae. But no, blackbeard algae. Like only fish I know that really does well at it is the fortified fish.
Mm.
If you're building a community tank and you want no algae, and your community include flying foxes, include Siamese or South American algae, or include a red-tailed shark. Like if you're building like a 125-gallon community with like angels and stuff, include the flying foxes, include Siamese or South American alligators, include
sharks,
a rainbow shark, one because they are meat. Include geckos, include nearite snails, include. You're probably not going to keep a mono shrimp alive, but if you can, a mono shrimp.
Yeah.
Any sort of shrimp, Getting a pleco to fix algae is a rough way to think about it because they produce a lot of biomass.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably what your issue with causing algae is. It's either light or too much nutrients in the water, or not enough things taking up nutrients.
Yeah.
And if there's no plants in the tank, then there's too much nutrients in the water or light is your only two issues. You can plant it more, which helps, but it's not the best solution. You can, or you can just dial your lighting.
Yeah.
Or dial your nutrients. It's probably you have too much biomass. You might need to increase your water changes. You might need to think about doing a plant in your and hang on the back filter, plant roots in the tank to help pull nutrients. That's called, what kind of growth is that called again? Yeah.
Immersive.
Immersive, yeah.
Immersed.
So immersed.
Yeah.
Immersed. Or,
yeah, immersed.
Yeah. Roots in the water, plant in the land. Plant in the air. That kind of growth. I know you can grow a nubius like that. I know I've done it with the little whites and stuff like that. I've done it. The word escaped me right there. You might want to put pothos in there. You might want to. Pothos is a great little nutrient taker, eater. You know. I know we were talking about that with turtles actually.
Yeah, papyrus does wonders, dude.
Papyrus does wonders. You know what? The two best, top three
water lettuce
things are taking nitrates out of water. Corn.
Huh.
So like straight up corn stalks because they grow a lot.
Huh.
I think it was some sort of tree. I'll have to remember. And then hornwort. Hornwort is amazing. Hornwort can grow a foot a day in the right light. From what I've heard. I don't know if there's any in the ponds near in Gainesville.
Mm-hmm.
Are we telling people you live in Gainesville?
Yeah. Okay, that's on my YouTube channel.
I don't know if there's any in ponds in Gainesville. But there might be. It's in Jacksonville.
Few. Huh? They're in ponds around the area.
Yeah. It's in a kind of saltwater lake here in Jacksonville called Wada. There's cormorant in there. And it's like a brackish lake and it grows in there. It grows like real red. It's kind of cool. And then, down in Lakeland, every single pond had tons of hornwort. I would pull out like 8 foot long.
That's crazy.
Like, and it's one string. Like,
that's
not
awesome.
Just like break off. Like, one continuous 8 foot long.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
I think another good three are papyrus, water lettuce, and water hyacinth. Do great work, at least in my experience.
Water hyacinth and water lettuce, I get scared of because when they die, they smell horrible and they rot in the water.
Yeah.
They stink. Sometimes you don't see them because other ones are holding on by a strand above water. And as a fisherman, I've been around rotting water hyacinth and water lettuce so much, and I just know that smell.
Yeah, I'm the same way, dude. When I had it with my turtles, man, it would get so bad because they would eat it. They'd eat like half of it and leave the rest to rot.
Yeah, and then the papyrus is definitely a killer one. There's multiple species of papyrus.
That shit smells bad when it's dying and rotting too.
It does. Okay, I haven't ever killed it. I had a small bit, and then it grew to like this, and I gave it to somebody else. But that grows really fast, so that would be good. Alocasias are really good if you want to do like in your water because they can generally grow in full aquatic, and they have really pretty leaves.
I have
expensive.
In my 20-gallon I set up downstairs, I added 2 plants. I added 2 plants in the hang on back filter, and I'm kind of scared because I think they're gonna die. I don't know how they're gonna do, but I have a jeweled orchid and one of those crypts. Just a strand. I just added it. I want to see how it does. Judging from your face,
I don't think the jewel orchid's gonna do well.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. But I just want to try it. I just want to see, because what if it does well, dude, and gets like huge?
I would have done science on. Not because you have plenty of them, so it's not like it's like I can't get more if I don't have them if I lose it. But like, it's probably not the one I would have done science on, just because I know they're not going to do well in all water.
What about? Do you think the crypt, like bromeliad crypts? Do you think that'll do fine?
The cryptoporn or yeah, I don't.
It's the
like
one you gave me like
Addis.
a year ago.
It's like the VR one. They're like in our star family. They're bromeliads. It might. I don't know. I didn't do well with that one. That's why I gave it to you. Remember?
Time will tell.
I couldn't
It's
get that
doing
one.
so good. It's like propagated through little sprouts.
I can keep the little ones, the smaller Earth side, the smaller Earth stars without like the zebra like look on them.
Yeah.
I can keep those super easily. The other ones I just can't keep alive. Or I couldn't. I wasn't doing. It was not looking great consistently with me, so I brought it to your house.
Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, mine's been doing great. The one that you gave me ever since you gave it to me, so I appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So with that, is there anything else you want to add before you leave?
Yeah, I want to ask you a question.
Oh gosh.
Dream puffer species to own. You can only own one, and then we'll do top 3, and then we'll do top 3 after that.
Okay, let me pull it up. I gotta find the name of it. Let me see. It is.
Is it a saltwater puffer?
Yeah, it is a saltwater puffer. It's so cool looking. Where is it at? I don't know. I'm probably going to butcher the name. I'll throw up a picture and correct the name if I'm wrong. I think it's like a New Guinea spotted puffer. They're like all black. They look like a gym tang, but it's a puffer fish.
Yeah.
I would love one of those.
New Guinea spotted, I believe. I forgot the Latin name.
Yeah, I don't know that, but
they get big.
Yeah, dude. We had Aquatropics had one, and it was good, like maybe.
And that's
10 inches.
And I don't think that's full grown on them. I think they get like 18 point.
That's awesome. Yeah, that'd probably be my dream. But if we go dream freshwater puffer, probably
No, it doesn't have to be freshwater.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if we were to do dream freshwater, it would be it'd be the hairy puffers, and then the dragon puffers. Those will be my top 3: the New Guinea spotted, dragon puffers, and hairy puffers. Not in any specific order. Specific. Goddamn.
My dream puffer, just to own. I can only own one ever again. I guess I don't think it's fair to the other option, because the other one's not as impressive to normal people. And like maybe it's not as impressive to anybody, but I like them. Would be the oh my god, blanking out. Cross River Puffer.
Is your number one?
You'd be number one if I can only own one, just because it's a big, impressive puffer, and it's in my top 3 list already. In my number 2 would have to be Arniotetrodon borneonesis.
Those guys are sweet. I like those.
Sophomons puffer, jet black puffer.
Those guys are dope.
I think they're like, they look the same as the Iribescus and Loretis, and body shape, body size, same genus. But they're a little bit bigger, a little bit they have this yellow in them, and they get like really dark colors. They're just one of the coolest puffers. Apparently, they were like super common at one point. I don't know anyone who's got them. I don't know anyone who's breeding them.
That sucks.
I would love to get my hands on them. The Wet Spot Tropical Fish has them for like $30 on their website. I assume when they actually come in, they'll be like 60 or 70. You know how that is. Like you look at a fish, the Wet Spot, and you go, "Oh my god, they don't have it in stock, but they have really good prices on them." And then when you finally get it in, it's like, "Oh, they haven't had it in like 3 years. The price is way different." You know.
So what's that number 3 puffer?
The Boise Eye. Tetrodon the Boise Eye.
Good choice.
I just don't know. I know 1 or 2 guys that got them. And I don't know them well enough that like they don't share very much information on them. So it'd be cool to just learn about them. And I think the only way you can learn about them, owning them at this point, you can't do research on them really.
That's how I feel about this damn chameleon, dude. I'm in the same boat.
I mean, yeah, there's like that's the way I think the cuttlefish would go too.
Yeah,
And
learn from experience.
yeah, because you're not learning from what's online because there's really not on one online.
Yeah.
I think did I send that to you? The it's like a education like a college like speech on like with like professors and like legit like marine biologists and ichthyologists, 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 fish zoologists.
Yeah.
And it's like an hour and 80 or hour and 40 minutes on banded cuttlefish care.
Oh, and what? Send that to me. That's dope.
It's like one of the 4 things I can find on cuttlefish online. It's not a whole lot of good information, like that goes in depth. And if you go really in depth on it, you work with some aquarium on it, and yeah, it's a lot of it is also not hobbyist care level information, but it could be used as hobbyist care level information.
Yeah.
I always think like if those institutions are providing you with more information than you need as a hobbyist, that's great. Yeah. So and especially if it's one of the only resources I can find, and I spent hours and hours and hours looking for it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got on cuttlefish from puffers.
I think we were just talking about just not being able to find care or something like that, but
everything I want is from Borneo.
Borneo's got some cool shit, dude.
2 animals I would love to.
Cold-blooded shot, man. They just fucking hatched out 4 baby Borneo earless. I know you want those.
Lanthanotus bornensis. Lanthanotus is like my goal.
I've become friends with some keepers, so I can give you a full care rundown as soon as you get that bread.
Yeah,
they're fucking expensive.
Hopefully these guys help me get there.
Is that your goal then? Like with the electric blues, is to get enough money to eventually get a pair? Would you get a pair or a single?
No, I don't think I would ever make enough off of it. I don't want to make money off these guys. I just want to break even at this point. Which probably won't happen. And it's not like I want to get filthy rich off them. I want to get them out, and if I make a little money off it, so
makes complete sense.
Ideally, I would get them out and cover the cost of me breeding them.
Yeah. Well, hell yeah, man! Thank you for coming on. It was fun. We're definitely gonna bring you back on because we didn't even talk about planted fish tanks, so we definitely got to go into that.
We didn't talk about a lot. We spent a long time dealing with my technical issues.
We'll be able to edit that out.
I have him on Snap.
What?
I said I would love to meet Chad. I have him on Snap, so
hopefully
I'd love to come back on.
We'll have you back on. We'll have Chad on. I know, dude. Chad loves. I don't know if I've told you. Chad loves pufferfish too. So like, it'll be a fun episode. All 3 of us.
Dude, and even like we talk every night. So we'll have more for next time.
Oh, definitely. But with that, yeah, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, have a good one, man.
Yep, you too. See ya.
Yeah.
Alright guys, and with that is episode 6 of the Skunk Ape podcast. I hope you enjoyed. We just bullshitted with my boy, my day one, Mitchell. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about fish, his electric blue day geckos. We're definitely going to bring him back on because there's a lot of topics that we have not covered with him and the stuff he's kept and fish tanks he's had and all kinds of crazy stuff. So look forward to seeing you guys next week. Like I said, be ready for next week. Chad will be back. Go ahead, go show Chad some support. He definitely needs it. He's got a lot going on right now. So with that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comments. Share it, and all that jazz. Peace out, guys.